Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly InSalt. My name is Wade. You guys already know that. I'm here with Laura.
Hey, hey.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Chaz, you're in the studio too?
I am in the studio today.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, not a
Couldn't
problem.
do without you.
Yeah.
And with the sassy sound master.
Yes.
Kurt Wallstrom.
Sassy.
We've got an awesome guest today. Somebody that I've known for a while. We ran into you, Nick, randomly at a RV show. You own an RV park, but Nick, you're here. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, thanks for having me today.
Welcome, man.
Sounds great.
I had something that I was going to lead off with, but now it's just completely escaped my mind. So I don't know. Kurt, make a joke.
No.
Okay. Well, that worked out well. Nick, man, how long have we known each other? I think it's been a few years.
Probably, 3 to 5 years, somewhere in there.
Kind of in passing, we see each other at the bar every now and then, and we've talked over the years. I got to know, I think right off the bat, if I can put you on the spot, I know the history, because I know that you've opened an RV park in Manila. It's called Nick's Last Resort.
Nice name.
Right next to Flaming Gorge. Beautiful area, by the way.
Great area.
But that wasn't what you've always done. Like, what led you up to that?
No, I started working in the electrical industry, lighting and electrical, back in 92. So this is and I still do that. It's my full-time job. I work for a large lighting manufacturer around the...
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's a good gig,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like any other job, Some days you got to go pick up the dog shit.
Still work.
Yeah.
It all pays the same.
That is one thing I've noticed. No matter how many people you talk to, when you talk about work, it's still work. Even the people that are like, "Oh, you just got to do what you love, and you never work a day in your life." That doesn't mean that doesn't mean you don't have bad days.
Right.
Those days happen. It's just part of the deal that we sign up for. Laura, you've been on a streak of bad days lately, but
It's been a rough week, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it happens, but, it was better today.
still got to get that money.
You got to pick up the dog shit.
Yeah, you got to pick up the dog shit.
Definitely.
Exactly. So I remember way back when. So what was the inspiration, I guess, to start like your own RV park? Because I've never had that idea. I mean, sounds like a good idea.
Honestly, it started out as just wanting to have a place for my family to come on the weekends and hang out, and friends and family, and party up in the mountains. And then I thought, well, I probably need to make some money on it. Mm-hmm. And then I lost my job.
Oh, geez.
And so that was really the catalyst. I've been laid off, not fired, but laid off from 2 jobs since like 2015.
Okay.
And it takes a couple months to find a job, and then you get behind, right? And so I wanted to
recover.
You got to recover after that, and so I really wanted a place where I could live that paid for itself.
Yeah.
Right? And not have to worry about getting laid off or getting my next paycheck or whatever. So
I think that's really smart. I think that's a goal of a lot of people, is to be able to work for yourself. You know what I mean?
it's still a lot of work, but it's more about being self-sufficient, not having to rely on.
Yeah, just not realize. So you got laid off, and then you were like, well, did you have the land before that?
That was
it
going to be
something
my question,
yeah.
No, and one of the reasons, the name of my RV park is called Nick's Last Resort. And it's not that it's like this fancy resort.
It was your last resort.
Yeah, I sold everything I owned. I had, a nice Lexus, I had a nice boat, a house full of
Stuff.
shit, all the dried flowers and pottery and pictures from Target on the wall,
Yeah.
And I literally just sold everything, had 6 yard sales.
Oh, really? Okay.
The only thing I kept was my tools and my guns.
Okay.
And went and bought the land. And
So you just bought raw land. Did you build the park?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Raw land. Yeah, it kind of forced me to get my general contractor's license, because it's a commercial project and they require a general. Unlike
So it kind of pushed you in that direction. So you're at a point in your life, I imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to speak for you by any means, but You're like laid off. You don't know what you're gonna do, and then you're like, I'm gonna sell it all.
Laid off again.
Yeah, again.
Again.
And then you're like, I'm gonna sell it all, and I'm gonna go get my general contractor's license, and I'm gonna do something for myself.
I wasn't planning on getting my general's license, but I've always been kind of handy with construction and doing a little concrete work here and there on the side, and so, yeah, I just decided to go do that, and then turns out the town, to get a building permit for a commercial project, you have to have you have to be a general contractor.
Okay.
And so, I went and took the test and passed and started that and just started chopping away on my tractor. I went and bought a tractor.
Mm-hmm.
And
those are also not cheap.
Yeah.
But fun to
no,
drive.
it was and it was just a bare piece of 4-acre land.
Mm-hmm.
Right in town, though.
Yeah.
It was just a field. So I just started cutting it in and building it. And I started in 2017 is when I sold everything. And then it took a year to get the approval from the town
Sure.
and go through their process.
Just before
there.
COVID,
Their red
too.
tape.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have to go
All their
stand
red
in front
tape.
of the, do you have to go stand in front of the city council and explain yourself?
No.
Okay.
No.
I want to
No.
get into that a little
What,
bit later.
just an
but-
application process, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just submitted a concept plan to planning and zoning, and then they took it from there. And yeah, I mean, at the end, it had to be approved by the town council. But
Mhm.
since I followed all the rules, all of the planning and zoning ordinances,
Yeah.
and that's where people run into a lot of problems with towns.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you go to build, a lot of people think that because you're out in Manila, Utah, where I'm at, and there's only 1,500 people in the county, that nobody's going to notice anything.
No, they notice everything.
But it's
Everybody.
quite the opposite. Like one of the reasons I wanted to get out of Salt Lake too, not just for this reason, was, just too many people.
Oh, yeah.
Neighbors in my business, and,
And then you go to this small town, Manila, and then you're
They're
like, I
really
want to
in
do
your
something now.
business.
They're really in
yeah,
your
you're
business.
thinking it's a small town. Nobody's going to be in my
Yeah.
business. But actually, all of them are in your business then.
I'm sure once they see like construction going on and they want to know what's new happening in town, like now you're the new thing, and I'm sure it puts a laser focus on what you're doing. But it's done now. It's approved.
Yeah.
How
Yep.
much did you charge for a night up there?
It's $49 a night plus taxes. And
that's not
Not bad at all.
no, and there's sewer, water, and power.
Yeah.
And I have really big spots. Everybody that comes to Flaming Gorge is ATVing or fishing or hunting. It's an outdoor recreation mecca out there.
If you're listening and you're not from Utah, or you don't know what Flaming Gorge is, or you haven't been there, just look it up on like Google Maps or look up pictures of Flaming Gorge. It's a beautiful area. Beautiful area. Right now, when you hear this episode, is probably not the nicest time to go up there because the weather can be volatile
It's
this time of
always
year.
a good time to go
But
camping.
it's true. You've got full hookups,
Yeah.
so
Do you have cabins or
Fall
just-
is my favorite time up there.
okay, yeah.
With the leaves changing, and we have some really good scenic overlooks, and the UNM mountain range is right there next to it as well.
Yeah, so before the show, I looked at your resort on Google Maps, and I looked at some of the pictures, and I thought they were really interesting because you're in a lot of the pictures, first of all.
We need to change that.
But there's also a lot of pictures of you doing activities that you can do up there, which I think is a great idea. I think you were horseback riding, you were out on boat, fishing. There's some of like four-wheeling and off-roading. There's a ton of stuff to do up there.
Yeah, there really is. There really is.
What's your favorite thing to do up there?
Relax.
I actually I relax in the mountains. There's a couple little backcountry hikes that I do. And I like to just get back where there's no people, and
Yeah.
I have a couple little honey holes back in there, and even when it's snowing or raining, I found a little cave back in there, and it's got a natural fireplace.
very
That's
cool.
way cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, so when I go hunting back there and the weather's nasty and you're not hunting during the middle of the day, but you're
Relax.
2
Shelter.
miles away from your vehicle,
Yeah.
you don't want to go back and
Just weather it out.
weather it out. I'll build a fire in my little cave back there. And
Oh, Kurt's on it.
Take a nap. Oh,
Oh,
nice.
there it is right
Yep.
there.
There it is, yeah.
Do you
Straight
have
off of
cabins,
Google.
or is it all just straight up trailers, tents?
just RVs.
Yeah.
Just RVs. There is one Airbnb there.
Is there really?
Yeah, there's a
Ooh,
gal
look
that
how
rents a
pretty that
spot
is.
from me, and she rents a spot from me all summer long, and she
that's cool.
Airbnbs her trailer out. It's on
Really?
Airbnb trailer,
Okay.
Oh.
so you don't
good
have to have
know.
Yeah.
you don't have to have an RV to come up.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, there's tons of great pictures on
Wow.
here. You know what? We've talked about it a lot on the show, and I think it's the nature of all of us, but we all love to go camping. And one thing that's hard...
You guys need to come up, and we should have the podcast in
just
one of my
talking about-
sheds.
Oh, that would
Kurt,
be
can you
fun.
logistically figure that out?
The sheds that
Yeah.
I saw the picture of there.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm down. I actually
What
meant...
river is that?
The Green River.
The Green, yeah.
We meant to come
Some
up
of the
there...
best fly fishing, by the way.
in the
Well,
Green River.
that's Sheep Creek there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we had good intentions of coming up there last year, but this is what happens when you live in like Salt Lake, which is in Salt Lake. It's a very unique city because you have access to the wilderness so close, you know, and it's one of those things that growing up I started taking for granted, and I'm like, oh, you know, I get too caught up with life as I'm getting older, and it's like, oh, well, I got to work, so do I really want to pack all my stuff up and go camping? But every time that I get out in nature, to that point where you're not around anybody else and you can only hear like the wind blowing through the leaves, it is the most calming, like relaxing thing. And I think every time we do it, it's like, why don't we do this more often?
I know
What,
it's
it's
know.
what, a 3-hour drive from here?
2.5
2.5,
hours.
okay.
If you gas up and pee before you go,
Yep.
get all the shit you need.
Get the road
Yeah.
snacks.
Yeah. It's 2.5 hours.
All right.
Jerky, licorice. Let's see what else.
He put it on the table. We have to go for the sake of the audience.
Yes.
We're gonna go stay there
We will.
in Flaming Gorge, Manila, at your park, your RV park, and we're gonna report back.
Why
And let people know how it
How
is.
do you reserve?
I mean, you're talking to the guy.
On my website.
No, like, okay, on your website.
On my
okay.
website.
Not
Yeah.
through reservations.com or whatever.
It's actually going through a redo right now, my website.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh, so yeah, I just tried to get on it, and it was like
yeah,
log
they
in.
want you to log in and all this, you know.
Yeah, which I'm sure.
You got to pay the internet
Ooh.
mafia to have your
Yeah.
shit live.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you understand that because now you're running this as a business, so you understand somebody coming to your website, if they create an account, that can stop people from like booking, you know.
Are
Like,
those your horses?
No,
Okay.
we just rented those.
You can rent a horse?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rent anything today.
yeah. It's the way to go. You know, the horses
You don't
take
have to feed 'em
care
and-
every day,
Yeah.
and the feed, and you know, it's.
What do they say? If it flies, floats, or fucks, it's cheaper to rent.
Oh, my goodness. Ches.
here we were running a family show.
Hey, there's some wisdom to that. By the way.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, no, not going
All
there.
right.
But yeah, no, there's a lot to do up there.
Yeah.
There's, and that's why I moved out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Fish off that bridge.
You'd probably jump off the bridge. if you
yeah,
wanted.
you can jump off the little cliffs there on the right of the bridge. It's totally illegal.
Yeah, we don't condone doing that, but you can do it.
Yeah. Somebody dies up there every year
Oh, so that makes
from
it that
jumping
makes
off
it-
cliffs.
Really?
Seriously, and Lake Powell too.
I've done
Oh,
cliff
yeah.
diving up there before.
Is the water
scary.
in that lake cold?
Fucking cold.
yeah, it
see?
only gets up to about 70, 71. It's like Bear
Yeah.
Lake kind of.
That's the thing that people don't get about water is you can jump into any
Wow, that's a nice
any
fish.
water you want, but if it's
Yeah.
like 40-degree water, it's going to take your breath away, and then you're going to be panicking. There's
that
the
a
man
walleye?
himself. It looks
What's
like
that?
Is
No,
that a
it's
mackerel or a
lake
walleye?
trout.
Oh,
Lake trout, yeah.
wow.
Lake trout. Flaming Gorge is known for big lake trout.
Oh yeah,
That's a
huge.
monster.
That's a
dude.
monster.
We have some of the biggest lake trout in the country and the most.
I was
You know,
I was just about to ask if you ate them, but you threw them back.
Catch and
That one we
release.
did, but
Yeah.
no, their lake trout are really, really good to eat.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
the salmon are a little bit more pungent in the fish flavor,
Mm-hmm.
and lake trout are very mild. So I like to, like I'll catch a 10 or 15 pounder and throw it on my barbecue wrapped in tin foil and
Sounds
Lemon,
amazing.
Or smoke it.
lemon, onion.
Oh.
So you're already going down our road right now,
Yeah.
which is food. We've done so much food on this podcast that it's like, tell us more about what you cook up
I used
there.
to hate trout. But
Well-
I haven't had it in a minute.
Trout
So.
cooked well is good.
yeah.
You aren't generally a fan of seafood, though, really.
No, but I'm getting back into
I
it.
think the one thing that sticks out in my mind is we went to San Francisco for your birthday,
Oh yeah,
and what was it? Was it halibut?
it was halibut. Yeah.
He ordered halibut, and
It was so good.
He ate
Oh,
it so
all of it's
fast, his
awesome.
plate was clean, and then he's like, I got to go to the bathroom. So while he was gone, I grabbed the waiter and said, will you get another plate of halibut on my check for him? And he came back from the bathroom, he had another plate of halibut. He's like, did you get this for me? I'm like, yeah, dude. If you really liked it, have another one.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But you know what? I think I like to say that I enjoy fishing, but I just don't do it that much. You know, I'm not by no means a good fisherman. I'll cast a line and drink a beer like anybody else.
Drown a worm.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes
love
lose a
fishing.
fishing pole.
You know, that's great though. It's great to just go and relax and
It's
listen
so
to the water lap up on the shore, put your toes in the sand.
So what do you do during the wintertime? Because I struggle with that a lot. During the wintertime, I feel like I get really lazy because I don't want to be out in the cold, or I don't know where to go. I don't want to. Obviously, people listening that aren't in Utah are like, you've got the best snow on earth. Just go snowboarding or skiing. That happens to be pretty expensive here, even
And-
for locals. We don't get a locals discount at a ski resort.
No,
you know,
and
it
it's not
doesn't
my
exist.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not 21 anymore.
No, it gets really quiet there in the wintertime. And
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite times as well, beyond fall, is the wintertime. It's super quiet. There's no inversion up there.
The inversion.
There's
yeah,
no
that's
traffic. You know,
Clean
we don't
air.
have rush hour traffic. And so
Do you have a house up there, or do you?
I live in a fifth wheel.
You do. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of those are pretty nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mine's a little older. You know, it's 20 years old.
Mhm.
But
Two
I'm kind
slide
of a
outs.
minimalistic guy. Yeah, it's got a couple slide outs, 3.
3 slide outs.
Gets the
Wow.
job
I've
done.
wanted to live in a fifth wheel.
My folks did for a long time.
I'm surprised more people don't, because the cost of living
Well,
is
right
so
now,
much. I was
yeah.
just telling somebody the other day that, you know, to rent a 1-bedroom apartment here in Salt Lake, it's probably $1,500 at
Or
a
more.
minimum.
Minimum, yeah.
At a minimum, and $2,000 for a nice one.
I've heard
and-
$1,500 for a studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can get a super nice fifth wheel financed for $400 or $500 a month, and then, you know, for a monthly rate, I charge like $600, and
That's
so
not
you can
bad.
get into a super nice place for $1,200 a month. You know, $1,300 a month, and that includes I include utilities in that.
Wow.
Do you have
Yeah, that's a
people
good
that
deal.
have been there for longer than a month?
Oh yeah.
You probably have permanents, do you?
Yeah, I have summer people. There's a couple people that
Yeah.
come up from Lake Havasu.
Okay.
I have people that come from the south, you know, where it's
Too
scorching hot in the summertime, and
Yeah.
Fuck off degrees is what
Yeah.
my friend who used to live in Havasu called it.
Shed's got the
Yeah.
potty mouth tonight.
yeah, it's true though. I mean, it gets to be 115 degrees down there regularly.
At 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and so I get a couple of those people that come up, want to hang out in the mountains all summer long, and then one of my guys from Havasu, he just left on Monday this week.
Okay.
You know, it finally got down to 85, 90 degrees, so he's like, okay,
Comfortable,
I'm going
yeah.
back.
Do
So
they
does he
do
ju-
they leave their stuff up there, or they
No,
take
he,
it with?
no, that guy lives in an
Okay.
RV park in
Yeah,
Havasu
yeah.
as well.
Oh, so he
In
just
a-
takes
yeah.
the RV back.
He's got a boat and a fifth wheel, and he's a widower
Wow.
guy.
He's just
How
living
old
his
is he?
life.
Yeah, he's probably like, I don't know, 60, 65, and he goes down to Havasu in the wintertime, and
We'll have to go next summer. We'll set
Yeah.
you up with him. Is he hot?
Yeah, is he hot?
you know, I'm not that kind of guy. But it's hard for me to judge guys,
Fair.
but you know, I got it. He probably wouldn't be my type if I was gay, but
Fair enough.
so.
Dude, I think that's really. I've talked to a lot of people about starting their own thing or doing their own business, and there's a lot of things that are in common that you have with all those people, which is it's almost like you had to take that jump, that leap of faith at a low moment, you know, like you took a huge risk by selling everything that you owned and in yard sales and getting rid of a house, and you're like, I'm just going to go make this work, and it's worked.
Yeah,
You know?
And it created the stability you were looking for. It's like paying off.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I
Very
mean, I
cool.
still build it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't go get a business loan on it. I mean, it obviously cost more than the equity that I had in my house and all
Sure.
my yard sale shit.
Sure.
But you know, I put in 6 spots in 2020, 7 more in 21, 8 more in 22. You know, so it's been a 6-year project. This year I just finished the fencing around it.
Oh.
Yeah, and you
so
know,
how many acres do you have not built out? Because you said you have 4, right?
Yeah,
4
it's
acres?
just over 4, and it's all built out.
It is. Okay.
Yeah. I have 3 spots on my side. I separated the RV park from my personal side.
yeah.
and I have a little outdoor kitchen there and my sheds and.
You know, it was
cool.
really interesting talking to you throughout that process because I remember you live in Manila, so you're not always in Salt Lake, but every time you'd pop in and we'd see each other and I always ask you how that's going. And I remember you're like, "Oh, it's going great. We just started trenching in like the power and the sewer." And you know,
expensive.
there was always some, but you know what? You were able to do that because you were general contractor
Oh,
licensed.
So is this your section of land right here? This big piece?
I think
it's right across the street.
Yeah, north.
Oh, right
Or
here.
not north. North is always up.
Yeah.
Right here.
So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so this is my part over here,
Okay, yeah.
up on the top there.
You
That's
carved
my
yourself
part.
out a nice
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah, and it goes from 4th
Yeah.
East to 5th East. I got a little roadway back
It's
there.
a huge, like
is,
just for
yeah.
like even a normal house is a huge lot.
Yeah, and if you notice, the RV spots are really big.
Yeah, they are.
In that area, I could have doubled the spots.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
But one of the things I hate about RV parks,
They pack you together too close.
you're in there like sardines.
Yeah.
And so I decided to make them a little bit bigger. They're 48 feet wide and about 60 feet deep, and they're fenced on 3 sides.
Yeah. And you know what? I really like
It's
that.
really cool.
Yeah, because a lot of times
And
when
you have
I've-
power and water and sewer to every one of them.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. And so people bring their boats, and
yeah, so
a
you
lot
can
of
park
RV
a boat.
parks charge more. If you're bringing a boat, then they're like $10 more a night.
You can only
If
have
you're
2
t-
cars.
If you're going to put a tent, it's $10 more a night.
Like an established campground, when we were going up to Echo, they would say, "Oh yeah,
2
who's
car
coming up there?"
max,
They're like,
yeah.
"Nope, you can only have 2 cars in here at any time."
Yeah.
And then I think the other cars they charge you like $20
Yeah,
for.
it was $20, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to have your friends come visit you at your camp spot for the day.
Yeah.
Can I reserve this spot right here?
It's taken.
Oh,
It's
damn.
taken, but you can have the one on the right. It's a double spot.
This one?
No, there's this guy right here.
Oh, that's not all one spot. Okay.
It is one spot, but it's a double.
Gotcha.
It's made for 2
Okay.
RVs.
Well, then I
You know
want-
what? Your trailer
Well,
and
The bottom.
Chez's trailer will fit in one of the normal spots.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
your
Well,
normal
I don't. Once somebody rents a spot,
No, Ches can
I
get his
don't.
own spot.
You rent the
Fuck that
spot
guy.
and you can cram as much shit in there as you want.
See, and I like that.
You can put all your cars and your ATVs and your
5
boats,
tents,
and you can
whatever.
put
Yeah.
5 tents, whatever fits.
Yeah. Which is, the way I think it should be. That's just like
Yeah, I mean,
common sense business practice. Like, why have all the, and I know why the restrictions are in place because there's people that's probably had a bad experience, right? Like, oh, we rented one campsite and there's 30 people in it. So now they create a rule of
Yeah.
like, well, you can't do that anymore. You got to charge for every other person.
Two
and that
people
comes
in
around
two
from
tents,
that
too.
comes around from the corporate people.
Totally.
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 I just have a small business here, and so I don't have to have all these rules, and
Have you had any bad experiences up there at all?
not one.
Not one.
Not one. I mean, I've had to, these 2 old guys that were brothers. I had to break them up fighting.
Just
The
drinking at night or
60-year-old
something.
brother was
Too many beers.
beating his 70-year-old brother with a lawn chair.
Oh, my
and I had to go break them up and say, "Hey, you guys, it's not Salt Lake here."
Yeah.
Get along. Go to your rooms.
Yeah. You guys are in
I told them,
timeout.
I was like, I feel like I'm talking to my teenagers.
You should know better.
It's going to be me and my brother here in about 20 years.
So, question, how far is it from the lake?
It's about 3 miles from the lake.
Yeah, that's not far at all.
Let's zoom out and look.
But yeah, I mean, what's nice about it is it's centrally located. You can go to 3 different marinas
Oh, wow.
There it is
from
right there.
Manila within
There's an
15 minutes.
airport.
Yeah, if you got that kind of money.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I
There's
always.
a couple. But we're not a real. It's a blue collar town around there.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I've stayed at Lucerne before.
Oh, way out there on there's a peninsula out there.
Yeah, I've stayed there too.
I don't. I think I've been there when I was a kid, but I haven't been up there in forever. I'm super excited to go explore up there, because I mean, zoom out a little bit more on the map, Kurt. It's a small town vibe, and like you said, you've told me this a few times. You're in the town, and
Oh, so you're on the Utah side.
yeah,
Nice.
you're in the
Just
town.
barely.
blocks.
Just
I
barely.
live 4 blocks from
I
the
looked at the
Wyoming
map.
border.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Texas later.
You go to Wyoming.
But there's
get your
so
booze.
much to explore out there. And I think the only way to get out there from Salt Lake, is there a back road or is it basically I-80 out? and then you drop back down.
You
and
can
get
take
there
You can
through-
take back roads.
There are back roads through there, okay.
And they're cool.
Yeah, that would be fun.
They're cool.
forgot
I've
what
done
that
it. You
town
go
is
through
called.
Chalk Creek out of Colville.
Okay.
You might be able to pop over to Dinosaur and get some weed.
You can do that for sure. It's close.
It's like right here.
Dinosaur, Colorado is the craziest place.
You can get there through Fort. What is it? Fort
Fort Bridger.
Yeah.
Bridger.
Fort
Thank
Bridger,
you.
yeah.
Yep.
That's where they have the big mountain.
Oh yeah, I
Map
see
Festival.
the road now that comes up
That's
through
how
the
I
back.
used to go up there.
What is that? 191.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a major.
Oh, I bet that's
thoroughfare there.
I bet that's a beautiful drive though.
It's
It is
amazing.
pretty. Mhm.
Yeah, like you're not going to see that type of terrain anywhere else in the country.
No, you go up over the mountain there, and it goes up to about 9,000 feet in elevation, and you can see the Uinta Mountain Range, like where it was formed geologically.
Yeah.
See that consistency?
Yeah, that's the fault.
Yeah.
That's basically the fault line right there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that geological feature runs basically from Manila there all the way. If you go to the left there,
Kurt, pay attention. Go to the left.
Yeah.
Left.
Left. Kurt, go left.
I'm sorry.
Where's Kurt? Is
the
he
other
in?
left.
Kurt's in Flaming Gorge right now. You talked him into it.
See how long that geological feature
Oh, yeah.
runs through there,
Yeah.
and that's the original fault line. So there's a lot of dinosaur stuff out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Geological stuff.
Totally. Like our whole state has stuff like that, too. Like St. George has dinosaur tracks, and we stopped by, where was that? By Fairview, that had the woolly mammoth discovered.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool.
And it was so high up that it basically preserved everything.
I was expecting to see the woolly mammoth.
Oh no, they put it in a museum.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, why? Like,
They just
It was
dig up the woolly
pointless.
mammoth and just leave
Have it
it.
out on a display
I
out in the
wanted
middle
to
of
see
nowhere.
him.
Just have a random building up there. That would be cool.
There's a lot of history out this way too.
Totally.
Out in Browns Park to the east is where Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid hung
Yeah.
out, and all these outlaws back in the Old West used to bring their stolen cattle to Browns Park
Yeah.
because it was so remote. And so
Well, think about the terrain here, and in Utah we have that. Obviously we've got places you can go where you're camping at 10,000, almost 11,000 feet. It's rough terrain, and back in that time, where's the best place to hide something? Especially like Uinta's rough winter. I'm sure if you're spending the winter there, but even in southern Utah, like some of the canyons down there, and like
lots of remote area in Utah.
totally.
I think I've stayed at Dutch John too. I think there's an established campground
Oh
there.
yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Does Manila have a bar?
Good
no.
question.
No, but it's in Wyoming on the other side.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
How far is the closest bar?
It's like
I'm
2
asking
miles.
for a friend.
I'm asking for a friend.
It's 2 miles, and it's in Wyoming, so there's different rules. So it's kind of nice,
Yes. Is it free pour?
Yes,
Yes.
it is. And
Sounds
only
like
till COVID you could smoke in there.
Oh,
Sounds like a future endeavor for Nick's last.
You can actually get a roadie there.
really?
Yeah, in Wyoming, you
in
can do
Wyoming,
drive-through liquor
package?
stores.
You can get a roadie. You can go into our bar and say, "Give me a Seagram's 7 in a to-go cup, in a fountain cup."
They put tape over the straw so that you don't drink it on your
do
way
they
home.
Do package like 6-packs or anything like that? Or
Not in our
Not-
town, but they
okay.
do in other towns
Yeah.
in Wyoming. But
Yeah, I remember
we don't have a
the,
drive-through.
but I'm asking for a friend.
the first time that I was in Wyoming after I turned 21, they were like, I was asking where the liquor store was. They're like, oh yeah, it's drive-through. You just go down here. And in the window, they had the like slushy machines you'd see at 7-Eleven, but they're
Yeah.
full of margarita.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those
And
are
I was
awesome.
like, I want one of those. And then they hand you a fountain cup with the
Do you
tape
want
over the
extra
straw.
shot?
Yeah.
And you can do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
double, triple.
And they were like, I was like, what's the tape for? And she's like, so you don't drink it on your way home. But her timbre was like, I know as soon as you leave this drive-through, you're drinking that. But
The extra shot of 151.
yeah, oh jeez,
You can do
oh,
that.
man.
you can.
Yeah, you can. It's totally legal.
That's the beauty of Wyoming is they let you make poor life decisions if you really. You're not going to hit anything if you drive off the road. It's going to be windy.
Dude, you can make poor life decisions in
Yeah.
any state.
That's fair.
Well, it's very rural.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's so
Yeah.
rural out there that, I think they're a little bit more reasonable. Like
Totally.
in our little town there, and people are leaving with roadies and
Well, yeah, people ruin it for other people.
Yeah.
Like that's why. Well, Utah is a bad example of that.
In our area, if you just, because obviously we have police there, and if you
Is
just
there-
go home,
Go
right?
ahead.
If you just go home,
Mind your own business.
then there's no problem. But if you go down the road drunk and you drive through the neighbor's fence,
Yeah,
That's
you're gonna
a-
have
that's
a
a
shit
deal.
like that, then obviously, there's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
You
totally.
deserve what's coming to you.
Yeah, I've always, not me. I've had other friends have a
I'm telling the story for a friend.
dirt road rule. As soon as you hit a dirt road, you can pop a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, my dad, he made the best comment when I was down in St. George. I got my truck, my new Tacoma. I was like, I want to go off road, and it's really good at the gravel roads, like trail running. I was going kind of fast. My mom's in the back seat. She's like, you don't need to go that fast. My dad goes, I didn't see any speed limit signs.
Yeah.
Should we take a quick break?
Yeah, let's
Whatever's
do it.
comfortable.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Weekly InSalt, episode 331 with Nick and Nick's Last Resort RV
Yes.
Park.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for being here. You actually, I don't know if we talked about this in the first half, but you drove all the way down here to do the show tonight.
And
Yeah.
by a heated
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, but I like to think that he just came down here for us because we're that important.
What is it? A heated water
Heated hose.
hose.
Yeah.
I heated hose for wintertime.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I came down here to do this.
Well, thank
this
you,
show
man.
today. It's awesome. I'm stoked to be here.
Dude, there's one thing we were talking about on break that I wanted to bring up because I think it's important. And we kind of jumped in right to how you got to where you got the RV park. And we touched a little bit on kind of the work and a little bit with the city and things like that. But it's important to, I think, understand that this didn't happen overnight. You worked on this for how many years?
Yeah, I'm in year 6.
Still in progress.
Year 6, yeah.
I'm in year 6. I didn't go get a business loan,
Yeah.
so I didn't have a bunch of money just sitting there waiting to spend on all these tasks to get it done.
And you had a full-time job while
Yep.
you're doing this. So,
Yep, it's been an evening and weekend deal.
yeah, I just wanted to clarify to the listeners that this isn't something. It's cool, and I hate this about social media is when you watch like a short or a TikTok or whatever, you see that TikTok for that 60 or 90 seconds,
Yeah.
and it's like the best. They've produced that. It's been put out there for them to show the best of them. And while we say like, dude, it's cool you have an RV park, which you do, but it's not like that just happened overnight,
Yeah, and I think most businesses are that way when you're starting them. And there's a really good saying in the movie The Shawshank Redemption,
Yeah.
right, where Andy
Great
Dufresne crawled through a mile of shit to get to freedom. And that's what every business is. When you're out there in the world and you want to start a business, you're an entrepreneur or whatever, I think a lot of people don't realize that to get successful and to be successful,
You
you've
gotta
got to
work at
cry.
it. Yeah.
You got to work at it. And you got to crawl through a mile of shit to smell like a rose.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm about 3/4 of the way smelling like shit, crawling through
Mostly
the
So
shit.
they're
roses.
somewhat smelly.
But I can start to smell the roses on the other
Yeah.
end there. I mean, it's starting, but it takes, it's really hard for a business to get out there and start producing and making a ton of money in the first year.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Business is 3 times your personal life. When you make things happen in your personal life, things that happen in your business life,
Yeah.
it always takes 3 times longer.
Yeah.
So
And
when
it's
somebody says,
consuming of your time and energy,
yeah,
it can be 24/7.
yeah, it's a long time, and a lot of blood and sweat and hurdles. It's really about the hurdles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hurdles out there, and you just got to keep jumping the hurdles. And
So-
keep jumping the hurdles, and they come in when you don't expect it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're never gonna expect it. I'm sure you had a lot of that when you like on your path. And they never come at a good time either, right?
Yeah,
The hurdles.
yeah.
just
There's
come out
always
of
other
nowhere.
stuff going on, for sure.
Did you ever hit a point where you thought that you were gonna give up?
No. I always wanted to just push through.
Yeah.
I always knew it was tough, and
Did you think you were going to be done quicker?
Yes,
Okay.
for sure. That's funny that you say that, because my project was only going to be a 3-year project, and here I am on year number 6.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, and it just
you've
that's just
adjusted
the way
to
it goes. Yeah, I mean, I accepted it to begin with. You know, I knew that. You know, so I didn't get stressed out when it didn't happen when I needed it to, and when
Go
I
with the
planned
flow.
it, and you know, when you're doing stuff like this and you're starting a business, you've got to be
Adjust your business plan.
you've
So that's
got
what I
to
was-
be able to adjust. You got to bob and weave out there. You can't
That's what I was
just
gonna
be
ask you.
stuck.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Did you have like a plan? You came up with a plan, and did the plan you come up with, is that what you've created today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were able to
yeah.
to
It just
work
took
with the
longer.
hurdles and to see your vision through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are,
and it,
are you considered in city limits, or you are?
in the town.
So are you not allowed to have fire pits, or
No, I can have fire.
you can have
pits.
fire?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can have fires.
Okay.
Yeah.
Curious, just
And some people don't want to have fires. Like when I get visitors from California, you know, that deal with all the fires there. You know,
Great unintentional joke.
no, it's true. Like
That's
I've had
funny.
people from California come in, you know, and that have experienced all the wildfires over there, and I'm like, yeah, you can have a fire. There's a fire pit, and they're like, no, we're not having no fire.
We're good on
I
fires.
smelled enough smoke.
Yeah, so
We were talking about that as well on the break, that a lot of times running a business is about adapting, you know, and I think, and we talked a lot about like corporate, like difference between corporate and running your own business. A lot of times, and I think a corporate environment, you're looking for the most amount of money you can save, you know, that's why sometimes these can, or profitability. And
or how much can I charge?
Yeah,
Right.
because now if you charge like $20
car.
for another car,
Right.
that's just extra money in your pocket, you know. And the side effect of that is that it stops a problem you might be having. But in your case, it's great that you're just running it like it's definitely
organically.
Yeah,
You know, it
it's
just
organic.
happens when it happens. So, you know, like when I make a business plan, you know, or I think of my plan, you know, and you have all these big ideas and it's going to do this and that, I always put a 50% bullshit factor in it.
Yeah,
So if you think you're going to do $1 million,
yeah,
plan on half
Half
a
of
million.
that.
And you're happy.
yeah.
You know, and yeah. I mean, because, you know, we all get excited. You know, you think of this good idea and I want to have this business and it'll do
Yeah.
this and that. And, you know, you got to be realistic and you got to put in a factor there of, you know,
comfort
you're
level.
excited. You're excited. And yes, there's all these opportunities out there. But really, you got to put in your bullshit factor and be realistic.
Yeah.
So if you had to give somebody a piece of advice that's planning on starting, even just like an RV park, or they're trying to start their own business, what advice would you give them?
Stay focused and less is more.
Be flexible.
Be flexible, and less is more. Like one of the biggest mistakes I think restaurateurs make out there is they're like, I want to have this on my menu and that on my menu, and I want to have this and that, and I can cook good Mexican and I can cook Italian and I can cook some Chinese. But really, some of the most profitable businesses out there and businesses that take the least amount of time to manage are ones that have a very simple
Focused.
focus.
Yeah,
Like, I'm using restaurants for an example.
sure.
And that's, you know, these specialty restaurants that just like Grove's Market sandwiches.
Oh yeah, killer.
Right? You don't go to Grove's Market to get spaghetti
No,
and all this other shit, right? You
No.
go there to get a sandwich.
Yep.
And they make, you know, 5 or 10 different sandwiches,
they do it very well.
and
Where
they do
are
it
they?
very well.
Groves Market is down. It's pretty much downtown, but a little bit west of
19
downtown.
South and West Temple, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a funny story about Groves.
All right, hit us with it.
Let's hear it.
When Kurt says he's got a funny story, like
I guess this can be the Kurt's Corner.
All right.
Go ahead.
Kurt's
Kurt's
Corner.
So this is back when I worked at Comp USA. If anybody remembers that.
back when he was
store.
slinging some ram.
Yep, slinging ram.
Damn, that was a long time ago.
It was.
Yeah,
It
you're old.
was. Yeah, I was the front end manager, so I did all the cashiers and the customer service. And but we there was a Groves Market like not
When
too
you
far.
say you did all the cashiers and clarify that.
Like
you know, I mean,
literally.
Oh yeah, literally. Yeah.
He doesn't discriminate on gender.
No, not at all. All of it. There were some HR issues. Anyway, so there's a
thus
Groves
the
Market.
podcast.
Was it longer than 7 years that you worked at CompUSA? Yes. Right? Statute of limitations.
It was right about 7 years, yeah, that I worked there. Anyway, so
call
there was a
it
Groves Market not too far, and so everybody would always go to Groves Market and get sandwiches. And there was a guy that worked there. I don't remember his name, but he was like the sales manager.
Tony.
Sandwiches.
No, Tony, dude.
Tony.
Tony's always
Sounds-
getting into trouble.
Now there was the general manager's name was Tony,
Okay, maybe a different guy.
but
Let's not get too specific.
it was a different guy. I don't remember his name,
Tony Baloney.
but
I'm
We-
baloneying over here.
we would go to Groves and get these big ass sandwiches because that's what they were famous for. I don't know if they still are, but they were huge
For
sandwiches.
sure.
They are.
And we're all planning lunch one day, and we're like, "Yeah, let's go to Groves and get some sandwiches." And this sales guy is like, "I want a sandwich." We're like, "Yeah, sure. What do you want?" And so he orders off the menu. We're like, "Yeah, we'll get it for you." We get it for him, bring it back, and he's just eating this thing like he's got his
Housing it.
yeah, he's got his face buried in it. Like we're sitting around watching him, and we're like, "Dude, like you're into this sandwich." And by the time he was done, he's like, "Thanks, guys. That was so delicious." And we looked at him, and he had a big blob of mayonnaise on his forehead.
No.
Did you leave it there all day?
We did.
Oh
We
my
did.
God.
We're like, "You have mayonnaise on your forehead. How did that happen?"
Did you send him the clip to something about Mary?
Is that mayonnaise?
Yeah. Where did it go?
We're like, and nobody said anything to us. He walked
Oh,
around all
man.
day with this blob
Oh,
of
poor
mayonnaise.
guy.
Poor guy.
That can traumatize a person. Because now they're like, don't trust anything.
Right.
It can also make him tougher.
It can make them tougher,
It's
too.
like walking out of the bathroom with toilet paper on your shoe.
Yeah,
Nobody says
exactly.
anything.
Hanging
Yeah.
Makes him realize life isn't so bad.
You're right, you know? And as much as, like, I'm sure when that guy found out he was embarrassed, it's the same thing with, like the ups and downs of this is going to be a weird tie back, but ups and downs of business, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you were doing the RV park, you were like, oh, I'm getting rid of everything. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to do it anyway. And if you didn't have that low, you might not be as appreciative of where you are now without being like, dang, I did
Yeah.
make it, you
And
know?
so, did you make mistakes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, of course. You know, I've never built an RV park before,
Yeah.
and so
And
I definitely fuck shit up. But I had to
It's-
fix it, you know.
yeah.
I've had to fix some stuff
Yeah.
and some water lines and
You did make a
make
good.
my sewer lines a little different, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that.
You did read the instructions, though. We were talking about on the break how to starting a business, and you said that exact thing. You're like, I haven't started an RV park, but what did you do when you were first thinking about it? That was a bad lead-in.
it was.
Well, you know, it was a long process. It wasn't just like one day.
You read
Oh, yeah.
some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
mean,
read the city requirements on an RV park, right?
You know, actually, at first I didn't until they started giving me a bunch of shit. You know, I came in there as one of the guys who was like, "Oh, this is what I'm going to do, and this is my plan." And they're like, "Oh, well, here's the rules." You know, and it was like, "Oh,
There's rules.
Yeah.
oh, there's rules."
Yeah.
You know, so I had to go through it, but you know, you got to accept it.
Did it make it easier, though, once you
It
knew
made
those
it
rules?
way easier.
Yeah.
Made it
Follow
way easier.
the
You follow the
rules.
rules in your town and your county with the ordinances, and they're happy.
Were those rules in a YouTube video or a TikTok?
Written
No,
form.
no,
written
PDF
form.
download.
You
You know,
download a
you're
PDF.
reading like your section. You know, I
Yep.
didn't read the whole thing, but
No.
most townies and counties have ordinances for apartment complexes and
All
RV
sorts of
parks
codes.
and
yeah.
supermarkets and gas stations, and so whatever business, you know, is deciding to come in there, there's a set of rules
Oh, yeah.
that says, you
wrote
know, you
those
have to
rules?
put your building,
The city council wrote those rules.
Okay.
yeah,
And they were probably voted on at some point. At
Okay.
least some of them.
and all the lawyers get
Oh,
involved.
yeah.
You know,
Damn
of course,
lawyers.
there's got to be lawyers involved.
So you know what I looked up? Or you know what I asked? I asked ChatGPT. what are some facts about RV parks?
Mm-hmm.
And Nick, you just tell me if these are right or if they're crazy. RV parks have diverse amenities. They're very widely, with many offering features such as swimming pools. Sometimes they have
Yes.
it. In your case, you have a lake,
KOAs
which
too.
is way better.
KOAs have some.
Laundry facilities.
Yep.
Yeah. Hiking trails. That's kind of a generalization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, ChatGPT. Full hookups, which we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
This is one thing that I saw on Google Maps, but nightly, weekly, and monthly stays. So
Yep.
you can just book it for one night.
Do you annual stays too, or like an annual renewal?
All of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nightly, weekly, monthly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have people that are staying all year long,
Mm-hmm.
and I have people that just come for the summer because they live in Arizona
Yeah.
and
Pet friendly.
pet friendly.
Yeah.
My only rule in the whole park,
You only have
because I'm
one
a pretty
rule.
relaxed guy, and I
One rule. That's it.
pretty much.
You don't lock a gate and 10 o'clock lights out, kind of a deal.
No way.
Stop
No
finding out.
Party.
I'm the only RV park host where the guests have had to come and tell my party to be quiet,
That's funny.
and that's the truth.
Arguably, that's like one of the best selling points that we've had all night.
Well,
What
I'm,
weekend can
I want to join that party.
because I'm not a corporate
Right.
Sure.
RV park, it just is what it is, and as long as people are cool, my only rule though is to pick up your dog shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
and
have
pick
to
up your
have that.
trash too. That would be another.
And they do that already. I've been doing it since 2020 now, and I haven't had to go and pick up cigarette butts
Cool.
and
Yeah.
the one thing I pick up the most of actually is those plastic toothpicks.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think people,
Eating
old
beef jerky.
timers, are used to the old wooden ones
Oh, yeah.
and just throw them.
Yeah.
But, I pick up a lot of toothpicks, but that's about it, And I have to remind people to go pick up their dog shit. Some people are like, well, I'm staying for 4 days. I'll pick it up on the last day.
Yeah, we've heard of that before. How does
I'm
your
like,
backyard
no.
Each
That's not.
poop
Yeah.
requires a pickup. Or
Yeah.
wait, it's October. We're supposed to say
Spooky dookie.
Spooky dookie. Yeah.
Well, and I entertain some people too at my place. I have an outdoor kitchen, and it's amazing how many flies dog shit and piss produces.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
well, they say you
It's out
catch
of
more
control.
you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. You catch even more dog shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you do.
But you know what? That's a really cool way to manage it, because you're being more of a host than you are like running an RV park, because I think that everybody's had an experience where, you go to a campground or you go to an RV park and they're like, oh, well, here's the list of our rules. Even Airbnbs do that now. Like, here's our rules. You got to do this.
Here's
You got to
your
do that.
check-in rule, your checkout rule.
And
We have to do laundry.
It sounds like you just want people to have a great time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
They
it.
come there, and
Don't be a
I've
troublemaker.
had people do all kinds of stuff. And it wasn't. The thing I asked myself is this hurting anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right before, I've had people come in and put up a whole tent with misters and
Floodlights.
floodlights and
actually
all kinds
fun.
of shit, and so.
They're
But
not bothering anybody.
yeah, as long as nobody's bothering anybody and nobody complains, and I don't have to call. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what goes on. They can have,
That's
whatever kind of party they got going on.
That's just generally good life advice. As long as you're not bothering anybody, you're kind, you have fun, and you don't cause any problems,
It's simple.
you're going to be fine.
Yeah. It is just like life.
It is, yeah.
If you
then,
sit through life the same way, it'll be easier.
and you're going to run into those people that are not having fun. They want to cause problems, and then you just decide that,
You don't.
I'm
fit in.
not worried about you.
I always decide that people like that are not getting laid.
Probably.
I mean, when people are having sex, they're happier in life.
Yeah.
So
Legalize brothels. Just-
there should be. They're legal in Canada.
Are they really?
Yeah.
they are in
still
Nevada
brothels?
too.
People,
Oh well, I knew.
Seriously,
Nevada.
I
What
can
is the ranch
guarantee
or
you-
whatever it is, but
Yeah.
I can guarantee you road rage and a lot of people's anger out there in society, I can guarantee you is because they're not getting
Yeah, but
laid.
then if they don't have enough money to go to the brothel, they're really pissed
Well,
That's
figure it
not our
out.
problem.
They got to figure it out.
Yeah. Like, I wish we had all the answers in this room tonight, but that's definitely not going to happen. Kurt, what's the answer to that problem?
Self-care.
No.
Okay.
You got that.
Yeah, I did, and I'm actually impressed that you made that joke on the air. Like, you're usually the one trying to rein us back in.
Right?
Got to regroup from that. You threw me off. There is one thing that we talked about before the show that I don't know if you want to touch on or not. It might be a hard segue, but we were talking about taxes.
Taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes. This is one of those subjects where everybody can get behind politically. Whether
everybody
you're
has
a
to pay it.
Republican or you're a Democrat. Period. End of story. We pay way too much in taxes.
Yeah.
You know, I just went to my county the other day after collecting money for Utah state taxes and having to pay them, but at least, you know, the customers pay that, and so you just, you know, you're like transferring this money. Like, but as far as with the county, you know, on my property taxes, I just wrote them a check the other day for $3,000.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah, and when you divide that out, you know, you're talking about $250 a month,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To pay $3,000 in taxes, and I went to him and I paid him.
Sure.
But I was like, what are you guys providing for this? You know, did you guys advertise my RV park? Did you advertise the county? You know, what am I getting for
Where's
my
this money
$3,000?
going?
I think a lot of it, especially on a county level, it's really, I don't know. I'm not a tax expert, but I like to think in Utah we have fairly decent roads with how much
I was
salt
gonna
we
say
put on them.
road
And, like
maintenance.
transportation, and then, you know, I don't take the bus, but
Roads,
I know I'm paying for
lighting.
that, like street lights and stuff. But I mean, it should be a little more transparent, I think, because I got my ballot for Salt Lake County, and on the back of it there's two amendments or whatever. I'm gonna sound like I'm so uneducated, but there was one that was like, hey, for arts and zoos and things like that, we want to do a tax increase of like 1%. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I like the zoo and I like art.
When's the last time you went to the zoo, dude?
It doesn't matter. I still like
Okay.
that we have it. And I wouldn't mind paying a little bit more in taxes to support the zoo, right? But then the next one below that was like, well, we want to do these 25-year bonds for, you know, like almost $1 billion that we'll pay back, you know, and if we don't use it all, but we're going to do it for, I think it was for like correctional facilities. I was like, dude, we just built like the United States most expensive prison. Isn't that what was in the news, Chaz?
I don't know.
But it's like the most high-tech prison. You know, we moved it from Point of the Mountain, and I'm like, I can see where you're at.
How much?
It was a lot. I don't have it in front
Drive
of me.
him out to the desert. Sorry.
It should just be a 22 bullet, especially for pedophiles.
Right?
Well,
They're
yeah.
cheap.
Hey, don't worry. We're getting the Olympics back. We'll send them all to Vegas.
Oh, my.
That happened in 2002.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the reality of that situation is that nothing's getting any cheaper. You know.
It never will.
Well, we need to all stand up as people and say enough is enough. Like, it's terrible for a ma and pa business to have to not only pay taxes for their employees, but then also double that. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The employee has to pay taxes,
And,
Yeah.
and you have to pay into workman's comp.
and then the business has to match those taxes and pay workers' comp and all this. You know, it makes it so that it's hard to run a small business. The only businesses that thrive are these large corporate companies that were running so much volume that they can afford to do that. But, you know, like for me, the amount of money that my RV park pulls in a month, you know, or a year, and I'm seasonal.
Sure.
You know, I don't have RVers
Right.
coming in December and January and February,
Yeah.
right? But the amount of money I pull in versus the amount of money I pay in taxes is way out
Do you
of
feel
whack.
like you're constantly being
proportion.
squeezed with that? It's like
Yeah.
a worry all the time.
And this corporate tax that's out there, you know, whether it's 30% with one administration and it's 15% with another administration. You know, I pay taxes. I left $3,000, $3,000 in my bank account at the end of the year, and because the way I'm set up, they're like, okay, out of the $3,000 at the end of the year, you owe 30% of that in taxes. So I had to give them $1,200, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or was $900. Right
And
out
is
of
it-
my $3,000, it was $900.
Yeah.
Right, $1,000. I'm like, my business had $3,000 left over after all the expenses and shit, and now you want 30% of that $3,000?
Of my earnings.
Yeah, and it was, you know, it's like that's
Do you
money
pay
that
yourself?
needs. No,
No.
I haven't taken a dime out of the company.
I think that's very common when you start a business too, is
To
that you
not, yeah.
you
You
are
don't make
investing
money.
in your business
but
because
you can operate at a loss for a certain number of years.
you
too.
can. Yeah. Yeah, but you also
Yeah, but you don't want to. You
No,
want to
you
make
don't
money.
want to.
You,
You
the
wanna
reason
be-
why you go
yeah.
into business is so you can make
Well, you
more
should
money.
pay yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting about this is like bringing inflation into it? I saw a video from 1994 that was a family ordering McDonald's. They got a Big Mac, a Happy Meal, a McChicken, some fries, and a Diet Coke, and the whole total came to, I think it was like $10.31. And they did the same thing on the McDonald's menu today, $36.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, and that's another thing. We need to get away from all that processed food.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff, and you know, all this manufactured food out there is killing us. It's a bad deal. That was kind of one of the other things I wanted to move out to where I live, is because I could hunt more and fish more.
Yeah.
You know, I can go down and catch some fish instead of having some farm raised steroid fish from
Right.
Yeah.
whatever grocery store.
Well, and that stuff has been expensive for a while, and it's not getting any cheaper. I think like what is 1 pound of ground beef at the grocery store
Oh,
right
shit,
now?
it's
Like
ridiculous.
$9.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better to be buying our stuff from local growers.
Yeah.
and
I was gonna say you could put a greenhouse on it and grow your own veggies, man.
that's kind of part of the plan down there. I want to have a greenhouse.
Because
and-
you'd need it for the winter time, but
yeah, I would rather be more self-sufficient
Yeah.
than again, you know, it goes back to what I was saying earlier is, you know, I have this property so that I can try and hopefully be more self-sufficient.
Well, I think that we got to come stay up there now.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
For sure.
Not that you didn't talk us into it the last like
Yeah.
4
What-
times we've
so-
talked about it.
So
but-
what's the best time to come up? What for us
Like right now.
right
well,
now?
what's
Well-
best? But what's best for you? I don't know.
Not freezing cold.
But you know,
Well, yeah, if you're
No,
in a
well,
trailer,
we're
or
in a
depends on
something
what
like
you
that.
want to
heat.
do. Depends on what you want to do.
I personally want to chill out by the fire pit and drink beers.
And one of the fun things to do there is to run the river.
Oh, that would be fun.
That sounds
And
like it'd be
fly
good.
fish. And fly
Probably
fish.
in like midsummer
Yeah.
to run the river because you don't want to go in spring with all the runoff, right? It probably gets a little too crazy.
No, it actually calms down
Okay,
when they let more out because the river's deeper and it covers the rocks.
that's true.
When
Yeah,
it's lower, you get a little bit more rapids because of the rocks.
that makes sense.
But, you know, the spring is good time.
April, May.
Yeah. I think that the spring and the fall is the best.
And you know me, I want to go off road and dude, I want to explore. And it looks based on just looking at the pictures, it looks beautiful. I want to find those like places that maybe you can't get there in early spring. You know, like a good overlook.
Yeah, there's a
I'm
lot
a
of
sucker for an overlook.
Me too.
there's
I have
lots of
so many
overlooks.
overlook pictures.
Yeah.
Lots of overlooks, but the fall is the best.
Fall, yeah.
Yeah, well, you
Loving
know you got the fall colors out.
Yeah.
You know, it's always
That's true.
So
always
like
makes for good
September?
pictures. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Mid-September to mid-November, basically. Because then it's not too hot.
Yeah.
It's not too cold.
yeah.
You don't get the monsoon moisture. You know, we
Dude, I
get
might-
thunder bumpers roll through in the summertime.
Yeah.
Well,
I might just drive up there in the middle of the wintertime to get out of the inversion
I was
anyway.
going to say, yeah. So when do you start getting snow, typically?
It depends on the year. You know, it's Utah.
Yeah.
Just like Salt Lake. I mean, it can snow in
January or the end of October.
in June.
Yeah.
You know, Mother's Day it snows a lot. Memorial Weekend it snows a lot, and so you know you just got to be flexible.
Yeah, full
There
circle.
it is.
There it
You just
is.
got to be flexible in your life. You know, if
Yeah.
you're one of those people that has to plan a weekend, then you're gonna probably hit one of the bad ones.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you're like, I can go this weekend or next weekend, and
I don't care if it snows, honestly.
yeah.
it
Say
snowed
that
this last
now.
week up there.
Yeah. Did you get how much snow did you get up there?
About 3 inches.
Okay, decent amount.
Heavy wet though.
Okay, yeah, that's
Heavy wet. It's still
Branch
warm.
breaker.
yeah.
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 The ground hasn't frozen, and
Well, Nick, I think that's it, man. Is there anything that you want to tell people about your RV park, or like where can they go look
What
at
about
for a
the website?
reservation? Yeah.
yeah, just look on the website, or and you can always call me for a reservation because our website is kind of
What
under
is your
construction.
website?
It's nicksLastResort.com.
There you go.
Reserve. We're going in September. I already
Well,
decided.
Oh, we are.
Maybe we can go.
I'll go
You
in
guys should
May
probably
and
just come
September.
next week.
Yeah, we should probably.
I'm going tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah.
I work tomorrow. So.
You gotta go. You gotta go all the way back.
I'm going tomorrow. It's going to be a
Well, you
beautiful
have to go
weekend up
back.
there, and
It is gonna be a beautiful.
Let's say,
weekend.
well, my trailer's not winterized yet, so
All right,
Did
let's
you
go.
winterize yours, Kurt?
Not yet.
Not yet.
He's been redoing his kitchen. He's been living out of his trailer.
Yeah.
That's true. That's right.
How is
I'm
your
living,
kitchen
but-
going?
Not living, but I've been cooking out of it.
Yeah, how's it coming along?
It's
You like
almost
it?
done.
Yeah.
I'll be done in mid-November.
Kurt's
which is-
kitchen.
Kurt's
Which
kitchen.
which is record time
Yeah.
versus hiring a general contractor.
so what are you going to be
So,
cooking us
Yeah.
over in Kurt's kitchen?
I already
Beef
made the-
Wellington.
Beef
Yes.
Wellington.
Perfect.
Yeah. We'll have to come back down for that. We'll pay
Yeah.
for that trip.
yeah.
No, that's all right, man.
All right. He said you heard it here. It's
Yeah.
recorded now. Well, thank you so much, Nick,
Yes,
for,
thank you.
for coming on the show.
Hey,
We'll have you
thanks for
back
having
again,
me.
man.
It was great.
Yeah.
I'd love to do this more often.
We've got way more to talk about. I
Oh,
know that we
yeah.
talked before.
Yeah,
the show,
we need
but
to have the comedy show one time, and
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
I'm in.
come prepared with a couple of jokes, and
I have to put a disclaimer in the beginning of it.
Yeah.
got to get
thanks
the
again.
lawyers involved.
I'll call
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
All right.
All
This
right.
has been your weekly insult. We'll catch you next week. I don't know if I want to get the lawyer involved.
Yeah.
but I will.
So do we have to call you to get a spot, or just show up, or
Either way.
either way?
Either way.
I mean, I'm sure that goes for us, but
Yeah,
since
but
we're
not for
still
everybody else.
recording, don't just show up. Actually, just show up there. He'll probably figure it out.